Hi guys, Matt V's Movies back for another video, and today is a video about the negatives of collecting physical media in 2025. So yeah, I thought we'd do a video discussing some points as to sort of things that are not great about collecting physical media or trying to collect physical media in 2025. So we're going to get into that today on the channel. Okay, so yeah, let's start off with the first one, which I think everyone can relate to, and that is price. So yeah, we've seen recently in the last sort of year, prices are going up. I know for fellow collectors in the US, you're really seeing hikes over there. Steelbooks getting more expensive, collector's editions as well, and we're seeing it in the UK as well. The price for collector's editions is going up. Just recently I've seen a steelbook, a collection of Jurassic Park, the first 3 films in a steelbook, so you're getting 3 4K discs, £50. Yeah, it seems quite a lot. Usually you get steelbooks about £29.99, but they've gone up to £35, and could we see 40? But now we're seeing sort of editions with 3 films in, £50. Yeah, so price is becoming a bit of an issue, I think, with collecting physical media in 2025. So yeah, not great if you ask me. I don't like the way things are going in regards to price. Retailers seem to be pushing up the price of new releases anyway. I think it helps to wait, wait for price cuts, sales, this kind of a thing, because often you'll find these a lot cheaper further down the line. The next point I'd like to raise, price is the first point. So we're now really restricted to a lot of online sales. Back in the day, you used to have quite a few shops on the high street that you used to be able to go into. HMV, Virgin, Tower Records, Our Price, Zavvi, Woolworths, supermarkets. Yeah, we were sport for choice. We could go in and we could actually look at products on the shelves and make decisions. Unfortunately, the only kind of store left now is HMV in the UK. We're quite restricted in that, and not every town has an HMV, self included. My nearest city doesn't have an HMV, so I'm kind of restricted to online. Now, yes, we do have CEX, which is a second-hand store. Sometimes you can get sort of new releases, sort of within a week or 2 of coming out, but it's not always guaranteed. It's not going to be new condition, so I'm really talking about sort of, as new products, brand new, not sort of second hand. Yes, you've got charity shops, again second hand market, but we're talking exclusively about new products here. So yeah, you largely sort of have to go online to buy things. Yes, you can look at sort of shots online, photographs, this kind of thing, but yeah, it's nothing beats you going into a shop to actually sort of look at products, and sadly we're missing that in 2025. So yeah, another sort of negative about collecting physical media in 2025 is kind of the lack of sort of shops that sell new media now. Steelbooks only. Films are being released in a steelbook only option. What about people that don't collect steelbooks and they just want the standard, standard edition Amaray? Disney have been doing this with their series like The Mandalorian, the Star Wars shows. They're just producing a steelbook, but they're not producing the standard editions, so it's kind of limiting people. They're being kind of given one option, so that's another negative. Hopefully maybe that might change and companies will see that there's more demand, so they'll start releasing more standard editions than just steelbooks. I do like steelbooks, but I don't collect every steelbook. I do like different editions. So yeah, again, bit of a negative there. Companies shouldn't just be releasing steelbooks for certain films, you know, widen it open, let people have a bit more choice. And then that leads me on to another point, which again we often see is either 4K releases on their own or Blu-ray releases on their own. Now, depending on what sort of collector you are, you know, some people just want to collect 4K, but they've only got a Blu-ray release of a film, and vice versa. And it's equally as well for DVD collectors. Sometimes the film doesn't even make it to DVD now. And again, Disney here on that one, they're tending to not do that. I will say for some of the Star Wars series, they are sort of including 4Ks and Blu-rays. I guess people that are buying these steelbooks could sell the Blu-rays on to people, but again, you're not really, that's more of a second-hand market. We're talking about the new market here. So yeah, another sort of thing that really is not great sort of in 2025, just limiting 4K releases or just Blu-ray releases or just DVD releases of films. Sometimes you only get a release of a DVD of a film in DVD, then you have to go to another country. Often Germany have more Blu-rays for films that we may only get a DVD release in this country. So yeah, another sort of negative for collecting in 2025. Then another point which can be annoying for people is quality control. We've seen it on a few Arrow titles where there's been audio issues with certain releases, and also pictures where there's sort of scenes been doubled up and this kind of a thing. Yeah, quality control sometimes is lacking in these releases, you know, disc issues, skipping, you know, quality control seems to be dipping at points with some of these releases. Also, I would sort of kind of say the artwork on some of these steelbooks as well is becoming a little bit lazy, a little bit generic, not much thought going into it. You know, it's always nice to see a steelbook with embossing or debossing treatment, but often you just get like a matte finish, no spot gloss or anything like that. And you know, some of the quality of these things isn't always up to par. You know, sometimes steelbooks come through dented, and you know, where's the quality control? So again, an annoying thing which we have to deal with in 2025 collecting physical media. Next point, companies like Apple TV and Netflix and Disney only releasing films and TV series on their streaming platforms, not releasing it to physical media. You know, this can be frustrating for collectors in 2025. You know, they then have to kind of resort to the bootleg market to be able to get the, you know, film or the TV series they want to on physical media. Why are companies not sort of still wanting to support physical media is kind of a shame, really. Certainly the likes of Apple TV, who do produce some very good content and some good films, but they seem reluctant to want to release. Now, I do know there are some TV series from Apple where they do release onto physical media, but not for their films. So that's another negative that we're seeing with these streaming companies. Netflix have done it as well with some of their films where they don't get physical releases. I'm not saying Netflix make wonderful films all the time, but every now and again they do make a really good film, but it doesn't always see a physical media release. It's the same with Disney as well. Whilst they are getting Sony to sort of do their physical media now, there's still some films that have never been released to physical media, and they're very protective of their animation. Things sort of come out in short print runs, then sort of go out of print. It's frustrating for collectors because, you know, you want to get hold of this stuff but you can't. Then the final point is, again, back to sort of the online retailers and their tactics for driving fear of missing out. They'll release a certain number of releases of a special edition. It all goes out of stock very quickly. That drives scalpers to put them on eBay at inflated prices. And again, that kind of annoys collectors that are just wanting to collect the film at a reasonable price, but they're having to pay over the odds because these items have gone out of stock, allegedly. But then all of a sudden, some stock is then suddenly found a few weeks later after release. Again, frustrating practice. I'm sure it's done to drive sales, to drive that sort of fear of missing out. It's causing people to go online and buy on the second-hand market at inflated prices. But then all of a sudden, then you find a retailer, or suddenly we've got more stock of this limited edition, which supposedly went out of stock. So yeah, another negative of the online platform, whereas when you used to be able to go into the shop, you could see the product and you could pick it up. So yeah, quite a few points there for sort of negatives for picking up physical media. Yeah, it's still a great time. There's still a lot of wonderful collector's editions out there that are being produced. But we do have to sort of look at these downsides as well to physical media collecting. It can be frustrating for collectors who want to, you know, get the products that they want at reasonable prices. So, have you got any sort of further things to add to this conversation? Stick down in the comments. What do you think of these points that I've raised? Are there any other things that I've missed? Yeah, I'd like to hear you sort of discuss down in the comments, you know, sort of the negatives of picking up physical media in 2025. Please give the video a thumbs up. That really does help out the channel. It tells YouTube that you like these sorts of chats and discussions, and that encourages me to create more content for you to enjoy. Hit that notification bell again so you'll be informed when I upload a new video like this. And also, why not have a look at the playlists on my channel? I've got a lot of different playlists: action, sci-fi, this kind of stuff that you're seeing here. Did a bit of horror, did a bit of westerns, did a bit of martial arts, all this kind of a thing for you to enjoy. Right guys, well that's the end of the video. Take care. See you next time. Bye now.